Up until this point, during the duration of my existence in cyberspace, I've received a common comment from individuals prognosticating and pontificating to me in the comment section or in my DMs, talking about how are you a Pittsburgh Steelers fan and you live in New York? It doesn't make any sense how you're a Miami Heat fan and you live in New York. Bandwagon. According to U.S. sports court law, you can't be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan if you don't live in Pittsburgh. You can't be a Miami Heat fan if you don't live in Miami. Bandwagon overload. So allow me to dispute the dogma coming out of those individuals' mouths and articulate to you exactly how I became a Pittsburgh Steelers fan and a Miami Heat fan as well. The year was 2000. I was a 6-year-old young chiseled Adonis coming out of church, or as the Haitians would say, l'église. That's Rosetta Stone Haitian Creole, motherfucker. So when I got home, on the table I saw 2 new N64 games. I believe this was, como se dice, September of 2000. And there was NFL quarterback 2001. It was a red cartridge with Brett Favre on the cover. And I also saw NBA Jam 2000 with Chris Webber on the cover before, the refs kind of screwed them over in the 2002 Western Conference Final. We're not talking about that. Whole Mind Nuggets Incorporated might just do an investigation, but we'll talk about that when we get to the point. Now, as for the 2 games, why are these 2 points poignant? This is what happened, right? So I started to play those games throughout the duration of the 2000 season, and there was some sort of constant every time I played it. Because Brett Favre happened to be on the cover, I only played with the Green Bay Packers. I was a big fan of Brett Favre, and I also pronounced his name completely wrong. My brother can attest to this. We both called him Brett Favor instead of Brett Favre because of the spelling, and since we were 6 years old, well, at least I was 6 years old, he was 10 at the time, so he didn't really know how to pronounce it either himself. At 10 years old, why couldn't you pronounce it, brother? Why couldn't you pronounce it? Shame on you, but that's not what we're talking about. So I started playing with Green Bay, and every time I got into franchise mode, for some apparent reason, every time I got to the Super Bowl, I kept losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Moreover, the Pittsburgh Steelers weren't that good in 2000, so why the hell did they keep getting to the Super Bowl? But I kept losing to those guys. So I decided to play with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and lo and behold, I never lost again. For some apparent reason, I'd hand the ball to Jerome Bettis, and he would just run over everybody just like that, because when you press A, they'd crouch their shoulder down, and I'd run everybody over, go into the end zone and score every single time. So I said, man, this is awesome. Then I remembered it was a October night. Not a night, afternoon. I came home from church. I believe it was the Jets playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It had to be the middle of October. I remember the Jets were like undefeated at that point because I had a couple of Jets fans that were my friends back when I was in the, in first grade at this point. So it was a couple of Jets fans and their parents were Jets fans, so they knew about the Jets. They're like, yeah, man, they're gonna kick this team's ass. Pittsburgh happened to roll up in there. I don't remember if it was a home game or an away game for the Steelers, but Jerome Bettis ran for over 100 yards. I came home about midway through the second quarter. He scored like a 12-yard touchdown. I saw the replay of the 12-yard touchdown. I don't think I saw it live, but then I said, man, I love the way this guy runs, man. And then after I saw that game, that's when I started playing with the Pittsburgh Steelers after they kept kicking my ass in the Super Bowl in NFL quarterback. And then lo and behold, I said, man, this is awesome. I'm going to be a Steelers fan. And that's how I became a Steelers fan. It's very simplistic, but that's how it happened. Now, as for basketball, my father, he was a big fan of Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan retired. He became a fan of Kobe. So given that he loves the Lakers, every time I turn on the television and watch basketball, because I'm in New York, there was always Knicks and Nets games on television, but every time the Lakers was on, he was always in my ear. Kobe, Shaquille O'Neal. So I'd always play an NBA Jam with the Lakers. Lo and behold, I could not beat the Miami Heat. Tim Hardaway and Alonzo Mourning just kept kicking my ass. So what did I do? The same thing I learned from NFL quarterback. You can't beat them? Join them. So I started playing with the Heat, never lost again. The ball was always on fire. And I said, you know what? If the ball's on fire, maybe it's because they're the Miami Heat. So I kept playing with the Heat, and lo and behold, I became a Miami Heat fan. Became a fan of Miami and Pittsburgh the same exact way, the same year, within about a 2-week span. And that's all she wrote. That's literally the story. There's no other backstory behind it. Now, as for the teams that I hate, in the NBA, I don't have a team that I hate. I have respect for almost every team there. I don't really hate a team. I'm not really a big fan of people who only cheer for a team for one player, but that's your prerogative. I have no ill will towards you. But in the NFL, the one team that I actually hate is the New York Giants. I just do not like them because I happen to be from New York. I hear it in my ear, and if you understand football, or I should say you watch football between the years of 2005 to maybe 2011, it was the same old story. Because in Indianapolis, Peyton Manning would be killing it in the regular season. So they'd be like 6-0 or 8-0, 7-1, something like that. And then the Giants would always have a good first half of the season. So maybe they're 4-2, 5-2, 6-3, 7-2, something like that. And they're always talking about Eli Manning, the New York Giants. They're doing this, they're doing that. In the second half of the season, for some apparent reason, every time Tom Coughlin coached this team, the second half of the season, they would fall off a cliff. And I'd hear all these Giants fans in my ear doing exactly what the Dallas fans would be saying. We going to the Super Bowl. It don't matter. We got Eli Manning. We beat the Patriots. They were 18-0. They're 18-1. Every single year it's in my ear. So I couldn't deal with it. I started to despise the New York Giants. I just do not like that team. Don't like the organization. That's the only team that I actually hate. And it's not like I wake up in the morning and look at Giants games and say, man, I hope you guys lose. I can't wait till you guys lose. That's not the case. I just happen to not like those fans that I met. But out of all the teams in the NFL, that's the only one that I actually have some sort of ill will towards. So that's my story. That's how I became a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. That's how I became a Miami Heat fan. Now you know. So every time somebody asks me or asks you how did I become a fan, refer them to this video. I'm going back to the Shadow Realm now. What's wrong with it?